Thank you for joining us on our adventure discovering what it means to be sold out to Christ. This will be a series of messages and thoughts that will draw us all closer to Jesus. Don't just accept your salvation, use it as the beginning of a relationship with Christ and help change the world. Accept all things, expect nothing, and stay focused on Christ.
Hey, thanks for joining us here talking about our lesson concerning business and how business fits into our perspective of how we get sold out to Christ, and yet we're still having to take care of our business. Sometimes that can be very difficult, and especially after you kind of got your career lined up and you feel like everything's going in the right direction. But then suddenly you find things may change. I can remember many years in business and going it on my own, and that's something that I certainly would not recommend for anyone. Even though you think it's so good and you've made so many accomplishments, there are so many things that you miss during the process. And of course, with all the travel and all that's involved in business, it's important for us to keep our perspective as to where we actually fit into the picture and where Christ fits into the picture. This gentleman that you're going to hear from here shortly is a good friend of mine, and I think he's discovered some things that maybe will be helpful to you also.
I wanted to kind of reflect on my travels and my faith, and I kind of lost my way during a long period of it. I went to college to be a high school teacher, and I decided I wanted to eventually branch out from that. I won't go into the reasons why here, but I went back to college and got an MBA, and I thought this would prepare me for the business world. And I don't know if any of you remember the cartoon Dilbert. There was one episode where Dogbert, the sarcastic, cynical pal of Dilbert, said that he really liked working with MBA graduates because he could take their diploma and roll it up and hit them on the nose with it. At the time, I was kind of incensed with that. But as I progressed through life, I found out Dogbert was right. You get a little self-consumed with that. When I got into some upper-level marketing jobs with that degree, I would admit I maybe wasn't the absolute smartest guy in the room, but probably pretty close. And came to realize later that God was going to work on me and let me know that I probably wasn't even close to the smartest person in the room, and I was missing the boat. So over the years, I became consumed with success in work and rising up in the echelons and being a leader and head of everything. I took all the workshops and everything in leadership, and I was neglecting what was really important in leadership and who I should be focusing on. I was sold out, but I was sold out to the wrong thing, to this world and success in business. So God decided that, I guess, that I wasn't paying attention enough, so He taught me a few lessons, but I was a slow learner. And over time, I ingratiated myself in some of the places I worked, that they said, "You have such a great attitude and business acumen that maybe we should help you find employment elsewhere." And so I moved on, but my long-suffering wife in this eventually became tired of it, and she said one day that this just wasn't working anymore, and I was shocked to realize that I really had been sold out to the wrong thing. And So after our divorce, I stumbled around for a while and met a wonderful lady that got me going back to church and really listening to the Word, to the Gospel. And I began to, over time, try to move more toward a Christ-like attitude. But you know, old habits die hard. And as I said, I'm a slow learner. I even became an elder in one church, but the focus still was on me and my success. I've said many times in our group meetings that my biggest issue in my life, my biggest sin is my pride. That I want to be in control and not give it up to Christ and to sell out to Him. And while I'm not perfect where I am, and I certainly have many pressures on me. I think somebody said the other day that the closer you get to God, the harder the devil works on you, and he certainly continues to do that on me. But I find myself more at peace and more I just attuned to trying to hear Christ. I pray every day for wisdom like Solomon, and discernment, so I can be focused on my relationship with Christ and God.
Well, I hope you've enjoyed that brief testimony there that says a lot. And of course, I can remember and reflect back on the times when I would go into board meetings and so forth and have all kinds of stress and strain to try to figure numbers out to make sure I had everything right. And not one time did I pray before I went in there and ask God to take care of me through that process. It's a wonder I even made it as far as I did. But maybe I did, and I lost more than what I originally thought. So don't get caught up in the world. Be a good representative of Christ. Do what you're dedicated to do. However, don't do it on your own. Do it with Christ beside you. You'll be amazed at the results. Thank you, and I'll see you in the next lesson.
For joining us on our adventure discovering what it means to be sold out to Christ. Help us spread the word by subscribing to this channel, clicking the notification bell. Then, most importantly, pass it on to your friends. Remember, it is all about Christ. Accept all things, expect nothing, and stay focused on Jesus.